Yo, what's up, everybody out there in the hobby? I'm back. It's been a long time. I know, way too long, way too busy. And I guess get right into it with the massive. I'm not going to make you wait to the end like some clickbait title, but the massive hobby news that's out there. I don't know if you know this. It seems like a lot of people these days, it's the talk has switched. It used to be, oh, we're making so much money, and now everyone's just complaining they're not making any money in the hobby. That the hobby is failing every day. There's bad videos. Things are going to go, even worse than they are now. The economy, this and that, and I get it. Everything is down. Everything is 100% down from 2020, right? From 2020 of the COVID days when you could rip a blaster for $20, I think they were doing back then, right? Somewhere around there. $20 and you could double your money just by ripping it, or you could triple your money by flipping it. What a time to be alive, right? Times have changed. Times have corrected themselves. And all I know, the huge thing in the hobby is the biggest piece of news that I've come across in the past 3 years is that people are still making money in the hobby. Okay. I know the markets are down. I know this such and such Mahomes, this and that is 40% down from 2020. Totally get it. Most of the markets are down, right? Now in the dollar card market and the cheaper market, yeah, it's smaller risk, okay? And maybe at those times people were buying those things cuz they thought it was never going to run out. I don't know why they thought that. People think some crazy things. But what I do know is I see it every day. Cards are bought and sold, whether it's on Twitter or X, or I can't call it X. It's so weird to call it X. I I don't know, whatever. Um, Facebook, Discords, IG, at the card shows, you name it. People are buying and selling cards every damn day. Okay. Are they buying a card for 10 and selling it for $3,000? No. Those watering holes have probably dried up for most people. But smart people pivoted and they figured out how to keep making money from it, or keep enjoying what they're doing. Now, if they were just a transient, person in the hobby, and they were like, "Hey, I'm going to dip my toe in, make my money, and bounce, and whatever, I'm out." Okay, sure, but I'm like I said, everything's down, and just being pissed all the time and clowning on everybody who makes a bad decision. I don't get it. I make bad decisions. I see people make bad decisions. I try to talk people out of what I think might be a bad decision. But guess what? Sometimes I talk people out of stuff, they still go do it, and then they end up making really good money. But I'm not going to be like, when they lose money, it's not my position to be like, oh, dude, see, I told you so. I don't know what that does for somebody. I guess it just makes them feel better that they didn't make the move, or they just didn't have the balls to make the move. I don't gamble. I don't have the balls for gambling. I don't hate it, but I just don't like it. I don't mind gambling on myself, but I'd rather open a box of cards. Honestly, I know that sounds foolish, but it is what it is. Um, and it's still amazing to me. Like, so if you look at the stock market, people lose money all the time. People lose millions of dollars in the stock market, and they just keep rolling and doing what they do. Right? There's not channels dedicated, and you don't see people other than mainstream media, I guess, oh, the markets are down depending on where they align politically and whoever's in office at the time. The market's either doing great or they're doing bad, or they're doing great because of this, or they're doing bad because of that, right? Um, but they don't have, like, there's not YouTube channels dedicated to investors that they're like, oh, look at him, he said to invest in AMC. What a dummy. They're You're so stupid. It's like, yeah, people, you can't sit there and, I don't know, you can do whatever you want. I got it. But to be ragging on people all the time for how shitty the hobby is when people are you're making money as well off the hobby that you're ragging on. I don't know how that increases business. I got it getting the information out there about shit people and scammers and dudes that are pumping the lamest shit for whatever reasons. I don't know why, but they're pumping it for their own good and trying to see what if they can manipulate the market. I think people are smarter these days. I hope everyone's getting smarter and calling out the scammers. The scammers, they can kick rocks. And I hope there's a million channels dedicated to just showing who the shit people are and the scammers are. Nobody wants to do business with them. And word is spreading faster than ever. Thank goodness. I think if you're in this business, in the hobby business, and you're a shit person to do business with, they're going to find out and word's going to spread. People will talk. Now, if you do a bad deal, someone loses some money on a card, I've bought cards that I've lost money on, and I'm like, okay, I'm not calling the guy back going, you know what, you SOB, I need $2,000 back. Like, what does that even do for anybody? Nothing. It's just like, oh shit, well, you got me on that one. I'll be smarter next time. And there are plenty of people out there that are still crushing it in the hobby. And some people are harnessing their influencer status to buy and sell and get stronger deals on cards because some videos I watch, I'm like, wow, how did you pull that off? What a steal. But it happens, and I ain't gonna be pissy about it. It's just, it is what it is. Other people have built a great network. They're just phenomenal communicators. They're good at remembering names, good at building relationships. And to me, I'm not great at it. I try to get better at it. It's one of the things I think everyone should work on is networking. For not just for this business, just for in life in general. Don't be afraid to talk to anybody. So I always find it weird when I go to a show and dude's just sitting there like trying not to swear. I really try not to, but I'm a sailor, but like a fucking lump on a log. And they're just not saying anything. Beautiful cards, but just looking over there, chewing their gum like a horse, consuming so much oxygen through their mouth that I'm like, oh, are you here for work, or are you just here like to get away from your wife, or what? Because you don't look like you're having a good time. So why do you want to do this anymore? Please leave. Take your cards, sell them, or do something. Did you have a bad day? Can you just wear a shirt that says, I'm having a really bad day? Because you just look like you don't care, and the networking portion is the people that talk to me or that go around and they're talking to other people at the show and just gaining information, little tidbits, because you never know what someone's going to say. It's a valuable tool. Invaluable moron. It's a valuable tool to utilize in the hobby, I think. And it can get hard when a lot of people are, you got a lot of conversations going, and hard to keep up with them. I'm sure there's some AI tool that's fantastic for keeping track of all that stuff, but I haven't found it yet. And then there's the common collector, buyer, seller, collector. He may not be moving, $10,000 to $20,000 a month in cards, but they're still buying and selling and making some risky-ish plays, but also buying stuff that they like. And if they end up selling it, they try to sell it for a net profit. If they break even, great. And if they take a small loss, they're okay with that too, right? Because they were smart enough to aim small and miss small. They weren't like, hey, I'm going to go buy, I'm trying to think. All over summer, it was Justin Fields. I'm a Bears fan. We suck. But it was all about Justin Fields, by Justin Fields. And every summer it's, pre-football time, it's quarterbacks, right? And you're weighing the options of which quarterbacks to play on. And there's no right answer. Everyone always has their right answer, right? Oh, everyone was like Fields. And then people started, the Kenny Pickett thing started to build. And then Purdy really started to build up. And now Purdy's obviously on fire. You can't buy, not everybody can buy them all, right? So the casual collector, the what I call would be the base level entrepreneur. They're just like, I'm enjoying this. I'm going to make a little play here, but I'm not going to, they're smart enough. Well, I would hope by aiming small, missing small, they're weighing all their life going ons, right? Um, you, you got all those little factors, like how long are you going to hold it? How long can you hold it? How much is it going to affect you in the coming months as far as finances? Are you clearing out the bank account for one card? Man, you better be really sure what that is. Because, yeah, then you're going to be having some YouTube videos like, I can't believe they told me to buy this. I'm not going off on that tangent yet about people telling other people to buy stuff. That's coming, though. Is it a highly does it have a lot of liquidity, the card? Is it a quick mover if you were in a bind? You didn't have, let's say you didn't have any money in savings and you went out and bought a Brock Purdy downtown for $3,500 PSA 10. That's, I'm guessing, ballpark. And you had $3,500 to your name and you're like, you know what, I'm going to buy this. Hope he throws 6 touchdowns tomorrow. And maybe I can flip it for 3,700 or 35. Let's get even lower. 35.50. Make $50 off of it. I don't know. I would, if someone came up to me with that opportunity, I would say maybe not. If that's all I had in my bank account, I'd be too scared. Dude snaps a leg, hurts his elbow again, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. But if you're okay with that level and you're single, because if you got a significant other, sometimes those big decisions, I don't care if you're the man of the house, some are worth running by a person that has no idea what's going on in the hobby. I'm telling you, my wife gives me good ideas all the time. She did just hit 2 Genesis out of 2 blasters, so she must have a horseshoe somewhere. Then, if you are one of those, are you okay with trading out of it? So taking that 3,500, using that Purdy as a reference, are you okay with trading out of it and maybe trading down to make more? I've done that myself. Then there's always the person that might say, I'm paying strong, because I'm okay with weighing the outcome on that card. Okay, right on. But all those, weighing all those things beforehand should come into play. Not because Paulie Donuts told you to go buy a Brock Purdy downtown PSA 10 for $5,000. You should go buy it and then be mad at me that I told you to go buy it. Should I tell you to go buy it? No. I'm rarely, unless someone asks me for my opinion on what they should buy or what they should sell, then I'll give it. I just try to. I'm not good at giving specifics like that because I don't think it's a weird market to be like, oh, you should buy him. Now, a certain sport, depending on timing, sure, yeah, there's cards you should be buying right now. Probably basketball. Hello, cat's out the bag on that one. But if I tell you, if someone tells me they're looking at a certain card, I appreciate that info and I'll go look at it and do my research. I'll if they told me that'd be like saying, hey, if you jump off that building tomorrow, you'll fly. Okay. No, you're not going to go jump off a building. You're not going to, hey man, Paulie's got the winning lottery tickets. I got the winning lotto numbers for tonight's drawing. All you got to do is pay me $500,000 and I'll give you those numbers. I have them. I know what they are. Okay, man, here's 500,000. Come on. You're not going to do that either. So while I can see the frustration of, hey, buy, what's the Will Greer, sports card investor used to talk about. It's funny, but I've said some dumb stuff. I remember saying at the San Antonio show a few months ago, it was NBA playoffs. Nuggets were, I forget who the Nuggets were playing. They just had won. I think they were getting ready to play the Suns, I want to say. I can't remember. And anyways, I was like, "Oh, the Nuggets suck. They're going to get swept." The Nuggets. And it's just because I didn't know enough about them, but I was just going off of they always kind of fizzle out, but they sure as hell didn't fizzle out. The Joker looked like a fucking demon out there. So yes, that is the huge hobby news, that people are still buying and trading and selling cards. People are still opening card shops. God forbid. People are, I don't know, buying multi-million-dollar companies that have to do with cards. This Panini Fanatics news seems to be an ongoing thing. I don't see any reason to get, oh God, what am I going to do? I don't know if the cards are coming anymore. The cards are still coming out. They're going to figure it out. It's not the end of the world. Do you think that this world of uncertainty, I don't know why it's any different. I guess because I'm not a breaker, so I didn't rely on the product to be shipped to me. I didn't have any idea what releases were. All I know is something comes out, I want it, I think it looks good, I go buy it. Do I think someone else is going to like it? Yes. Okay, I'll try to curate my best stuff so that when people see it, when I'm selling it, they go, damn, that's sick, I'd like that. Take. Okay, great. So yeah, that's the huge hobby news. Now, what can kind of play into that is a new thing that's kind of popped up at the card shows. Let me get a little sippy of some water here. Delicious. H2O. Amazing. I've walked up to some tables and it's always nice. They go, "Hey, are you selling anything?" Sure. Always selling something. Okay, let me take a look. Hey, mind if I take a look at these and you let me know what you value them at. What I value them at. All right. I meant to pull this up beforehand. Oh, you know what? And back to the freaking, sorry, ADD always. Back to the whole like listening to somebody, to tell you to buy something and then being pissed off at the end. There's a quote from the movie Snatch. There's a bad guy named Bricktop, and he's like antagonist or whatever, real douche. But it's after one of the boxing matches, and Bricktop's walking through the crowd, leaving, pissed off because the boxer didn't do what he told him to do, and some guy stops him and he's like, "Thanks for the tip, Bricktop," and he just grabs him by the face and he goes, "If I throw a dog a bone, I don't want to know if it tastes good or not, and if you ever interrupt me while I'm walking, I'll cut your effing Jacobs off." I mean, he gave him a tip. He was probably like, "Oh, I forget. Brad Pitt's going down. I don't know his fucking name. Degs is going down in the fourth. Okay, sweet. I'm going to go bet on that." He didn't do it. Can't be really pissed off about it. If Joe Burrow breaks his leg, you can't be like, "How dare you tell me to buy Joe Burrow?" It's like, okay, what'd you want me to do? I wasn't a part of that. But I meant to look up back to getting values. Okay, value. I needed to look it up. I knew what it meant, but I wanted to see the actual definition. An amount as of goods, services, or money considered to be a fair and suitable equivalent for something else, a fair price or return. 2, monetary or material worth. Worth in usefulness or importance to a possessor, utility or merit. It's a noun. Value. Walking up to tables and they go, what do you value this at? And I kind of go, I didn't think much of it the first couple times I heard it. It's like, value. What a weird sentence to say. What do you value this at? Like, what do you value your life at, bro? It's priceless. Yeah, I know. It's life. So when you ask me what I value it at now, I go $1 million. Yeah, but like, what do you think they're worth? Oh, what they're worth. Now we're getting don't use I really can't stand the used car salesman pitch. What do you value that Cadillac for, sir? I value for $100,000. It's a '96 Cadillac, bro. Yeah, but it's got sentimental value. This is my grandmother's. She died yesterday. I don't want to sell it, but if you want to give me that price, that's what I value it at. Now, if you want to ask me, hey, let's look up the comps and I'm going to offer you a percentage on that. Okay, gotcha. I see what we're doing here, and that's totally fine. But I don't need the stupidity move of, I mean, I guess it's not stupid. It's just more annoying than anything. Going, oh yeah, hey, I'm only interested in the values, and then I'm going to offer you 60% on those values. Please don't come at me with the used car salesman. So when you ask somebody, hey, you're looking to buy a lot, I caught, and it's so crazy because I caught myself using that terminology a couple times, and I wanted to punch myself in the face. I'm like, what did I just say? That bastard got in my head, made me stupid. Used a superpower. Some people got that superpower that the more you talk to them, the dumber you get. It's 100% true. I know a couple people like that. Some of them are my friends. It's probably not why I'm so dumb, but that's for another story. Yeah, that to me is one that's started to blow up a little bit. And how do you get the values? How do you get those prices? For the new people out there that are listening, or I hope you listen, like, comment, subscribe. That's what I should have probably said when the video opened. But if you've listened this long, like, comment, subscribe to this channel. I'll probably say this again at the end. Tasty Brains Podcast. Follow me on IG, Tasty Brains Podcast. Follow me on IG, Paulie Donuts. And of course, where it all started, X, Twitter, formerly known as. Follow me at Paulie Donuts. But if you are starting off, eBay's a great spot to start. Finding what things sold for, type it in, go to the filter, scroll down, click sold and completed sales. Then you'll see what, air quotes, sold and completed. Then you reach the stupid part of the hobby. For some reason, eBay refuses to fix this. I don't understand why. I still don't get it, because I'm sure it's a bit of, it's probably the smallest bit of code for them to make it happen, and they won't do it. They, for some reason, are like, they want you to go to these other sites and use these other apps. I don't know why, but okay. Or go to their Terapeak, which is also a pain in the ass. But you're going to buy a card. And this is a quick little, for dummies, not, hobby for dummies. It's hilarious to me. That they wrote a book about that. I was hoping it was April Fool's, but it's not. Moving along. Good luck. So you go to eBay, you see it says best offer accepted, or you see the line, you see the price crossed out, and you're like, well, I don't know how much it is. It looks like it's sold for, it's $1,500, or let's go with the Purdy, $3,500, but it's crossed out. Where do I find out where it's sold? Well, you can go to a few places. 130point.com does a good job, decent job. That website's clunky as all hell. Looks like they're building an app. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. You can get Card Ladder, pay for Card Ladder. I used to be against Card Ladder. It's good. It's not perfect. None of them are perfect. None of them are finding all of the sales. Sometimes 130 Point will show a bunch of sales, and then they won't be on Card Ladder. If I see a massive discrepancy, I'll go to Terapeak, which is eBay's seller completed sales. So I guess they just want us to go to Terapeak and make it more of a pain in the ass. Instead of being able to say, look at what the card actually sold for, great. Alt, if you need a quick picture, bam, see what a card sold for. And maybe that's where it all stemmed from, that word value. Because people were starting to use that, sorry to go off on another tangent. People were starting to, well, all value is that People always use that shit when it's in their favor. One. Same with card ladder value, PSA value, whatever value. Those are all, to me, ways that people manipulate. How can I believe what a value is when I look up that card one day and I look up the same card raw and they're doing the same as a PSA 10? What is that value? I don't understand. Where are you getting that value from? And sure as hell, they don't tell you where they're building those values from. If they do, I've missed it. If they've come out and said, "Oh, well, we get our value from this," okay, sounds like it just, people see that value and they go, "Oh, this isn't my favorite. It says last one did 2,000, but it's saying it's valued at 5,000. It's alt value says 5,000. I don't give a shit what it says. It could say $1, and if the last one did 2,000, I'm not going to tell you it's worth $1. So for the newbies, out there, and if you didn't know, even if you're kind of been doing this for a minute, it can get a little daunting when you're trying to do deals and things are moving fast, whether it be on the internet or at a card show, and just you got to slow things down and find out what the card is worth. You can go off the last comp. It's easiest for me to go off the last comp unless it's astronomically higher than the one before that and the one before that, and nothing has changed, right? There's been no huge things. That person didn't pass away. They didn't just win the Super Bowl that night. The National is not about to happen, or the National isn't happening, because there's some little trickies out there that like to manipulate, what cards have sold for, air quotes. So once again, you got to do your homework. You can't just be all, just looking at eBay and going, "Oh yeah, that's it," or not even looking at what they sold for, just looking at what they're listed at, which is another way to do some homework. Though you can see what a few have sold for, and let's say it's out of 5, which is not always going to be all 5 aren't going to usually be sold. Then go back and see what's listed, and kind of based off that. Then look at other players, comparable players. There's a lot of ways to get the value of a card, aka not the value, also known as what the card is worth. Worth and value to me have, maybe I'm playing semantics here, but that when someone tells me what do you value it at, it just sounds like they're asking me, what do I think it's worth? $1 million. Excuse me? Exactly. I asked the wrong question. Always try to ask the right questions. And I guess this brings me to the last part. Is it's kind of a running joke between a buddy of mine and me, is about telling stories on cards. And I've made it a point to try not to buy things. This goes back into buying cards and how you're weighing the options of why you should buy that card, especially expensive ones, that you got to talk to the wife about. Even if you're a baller or if you're single, then you still got to do some mental talking to the mental wife. Reason that says, how much of a story do I want to tell on this card? What do I mean by that? You buy a card. I had a Justin Herbert National Treasures horizontal to 10 RPA BGS 9.5, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Quad 9.5s, I think. Sick looking card, beautiful card. Traded into it with a little bit of cash. And I felt like at one point I was telling stories about the card because I had to extrapolate from other sales and telling them, oh, but this, the last, BGS 8 did this and the BGS 9 did this. This is a 9.5. This is the only 9.5 in existence. It should be worth this based off of what the PSA 10 sold for, but that PSA 10 sold for this at this point in time. There I am telling a story about a card for what? To sell it, obviously, but why am I doing all of this work? Why am I buying cards that I have to tell stories on? It's difficult, in my opinion. It makes things hard. I've bought some other ones. I'm trying to think of what else I've had to tell a story on, but um, I evaluate it mostly on, excuse me, mostly on the big cards that I see come up that I want. I go, what kind of story am I going to tell on this card? I had a 2018 Mahomes Kaboom, first year Kaboom, BGS 9.5. I got it in a trade with some other Mahomes for that Herbert. And I really thought Herbert was going to be have a blow up year this year, but man, the Chargers have gone through it, especially the other night. God damn. But I had the Mahomes Kaboom, and I didn't want to sell it. I ended up selling it, but I wanted $4,000 for it, and I thought that's what I thought the card was worth, based off of what a PSA 10 did. And I'm not going to get into the semantics of what a PSA 10 worth is compared to BGS 9.5. We'll save that for another episode. But I had that card, and I had to tell stories on it. I had to say, well, the PSA 10 did this. It's a first year Kaboom. It's like you're giving a resume for the card. People do it also with, they'll bring up other things, like it's first on print, it's last on print, meaning, out of 99, it's 99 out of 99, or it's 10 out of 10, or it's 1 out of 10, or it's jersey numbered, which is, a friend of mine I joke around with. To me, that, in my opinion, that brings zero value upgrade to a card. Yes, if there is a super collector out there that must have the jersey number because they're a flipping weirdo, I got it. And maybe they're not a weirdo, but if you could get a Kobe Auto 824, I could see where that would be nuts. Okay. If you could get a Jordan 23 out of 45, also pretty cool. But I think other than that, it starts to get a little, just who cares? I would say color match is an instant eye grabber. You're like, oh shit, that's sick. Color match, badass. That looks cool. Another story you have to tell though. You bought a card. You're the only sale of that card. Now you got to tell a story why it's worth more. 101. I had this problem with a Bo Jackson downtown I was selling. 101 Optic Sparkle, white sparkle, this past year, and I thought it was worth $6,000. Ray Lewis did like 3,500 or so. I don't freaking know, but Ray Lewis did something, and I always thought Bo Jackson was worth more than Ray Lewis. It seemed like sound logic in my opinion, but other people were like, "No way, can't be 6,000." Joe Burrow did 5,000. I'm like, well, what's Joe Burrow done? I know he's a quarterback, but Bo Jackson is like, it's Bo Jackson. You can miss me with the Joe Burrow. He's a baller too, but he has done no fan service amounts to what Bo Jackson has done, right? At the height of Bo, it was, crazy. He was a freaking animal, man. Still is an animal. So don't buy cards. Buy whatever you want, but one thing I would stay away from is trying to tell stories on cards. It's just going to it makes the decision making on the other guy's side harder. Okay, because I'm all for trying to sell a card, like telling them why this is a good investment or why you think it's worth this much compared to the recent sales. Totally get it. But if you're telling me, that, oh, it's 1 out of 10 and he wears the number 1, so it's first on print and it's jersey numbered. It's gold. It's the last one did the last PSA 10 did 6,000. I want 5,000 for this BGS 9.5, but I actually want 6,000 because this one's first on print and it's jersey numbered. I don't see how that helps anybody in making a purchase from you. What I see is you bought the card for 3,000. It's now it last one just sold for 4,000. Ask 4,000. Whether it be color match or whatever, you know. Um, I think to me, telling stories can get you, and it always happens with the bigger cards. You know, obviously, it doesn't happen with $10 cards. There's not many stories you have to tell about $5 cards. But I would say if you could stay away from telling stories as much as you can, unless it's by the campfire. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, thank you. It's great to be back. I appreciate everyone who listens. I'm going to try to keep this up as much as I can. Got Halloween coming up, got Dallas coming up. And I'll be trying to go to a lot more shows this upcoming year. Can't believe the year's almost over. But thank you, everyone, for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. At Paulie Donuts on Twitter, Instagram, Tasty Brains Pod on Twitter and Instagram as well. It's got a nice, colorful brain, and that's me. If you can't remember that, Paulie Donuts is always the easiest one. Come join a stack sale and leave a comment below if you liked it, if you think it sucked, if you didn't agree with me. Drop your insights. I'll talk about them on the next show. I appreciate it. Peace.